conversions. This is part 4 of the library bus conversion. Thanks for tuning in, and sorry again I'm a day late. So let's go and have a look at the bus. As per the last couple of videos I've mentioned, obviously we removed the disabled lift that was here and added this whole section in. So this is a box section frame we made, and have seam welded all the sheet steel in. Then it's been painted and primered. And then these stairs were there originally, so there was a disabled lift here, but these stairs were there when the bus arrived, but we took it back to bare metal and have obviously seam sealed it and repaired any rust, and taken it back to absolutely bare metal and primed and painted it. So this has all been painted in 2K black. As you can see, we've now got a shower tray, and we've got a proper floor in here now. So again, this is made by, was supplied by, I'm not sure if they actually make it, but it's called Anders is the company. They sell a wide range of CORK flooring, which is Portuguese. We've gone all the way into the front of the cab, even into sort of small areas like this, which will be covered by the walls, which is why we've done the floor fully at this stage, rather than building walls and the ceiling structure, as this isn't a van obviously. So there's a lot of different ways of doing something like this, and this seemed to be the most appropriate way to make use of all of the floor space. So it's going all the way around the seats, around the handbrake, and obviously this will be finished off with an edging of the owner's choice. We've obviously reinstated the swivel passenger seat. What I'm contemplating doing is, as you may have seen in some American school buses, they've made use of the passenger seat area, and where it turns round, potentially putting some kind of workspace on the side of the shower wall. So that may very well end up being a fold down table or up table of some description, or even a monitor on the wall, or perhaps a tablet that's got a mount on the wall there, so that you can swivel the seat round and even do some work, or perhaps just watch a different TV show if there's other people in the bus that want to watch something, and perhaps on a TV we're considering putting here. Again, some of this is still to be confirmed, but I had a pretty cool idea that where there would be this bench seat here behind the double seats with a table in the middle for the 2 kids to ride along in, there's going to be a longer seat here, about 1.8 meters, that will become a kind of small double, so it could sleep 1 or 2 people. But I'm also thinking about having a full wall here now, instead of having a sort of low level little Juliet balcony almost, and having a full wall here with a kind of cabinet here with a worktop, and then a flush mounted QLED TV, potentially on a bracket that can obviously angle out towards the back of the bus if someone's cooking and they want to still be able to watch the TV, or perhaps if there's only people sitting on this seat, then you could angle it slightly towards that. But otherwise, a QLED TV, you'd be able to see it pretty well from these 2 seats spun round, and then the double seat there, so you could have 4 or 5 people watching a movie, which would be lovely. And then obviously the wood burner could be on as well. I'm thinking of this wall only being this part of the wall being high level, and not having it continue round the steps, so it would kind of only be as high as the cabinet is as you come up the stairs. Just to give you a bit of a close-up of this CORK flooring, it's really beautiful. As you can probably tell, there is an assortment of wiring and plumbing poking out the floor now. So the floor has been, so we've kind of made a frame underneath on top of the original ply floor, which has been then insulated with 25mm closed cell foam insulation, Ecotherm, Celotex and things like that. And then we put a ply layer on top, which has all been screwed down and sealed down between the joins to avoid it creaking. And then we've then put the Anders CORK flooring on top. But as you can see, we've made allowances and placed wiring looms all under the floor. So there's hundreds of meters of cabling underneath the floor, coming out in all the necessary spots, which will make wiring later on not easier per se, but it will make it neater, rather than trying to do all internal wiring. There will be some wiring that goes in the walls still. So, and obviously some wiring in the ceiling to power the roof fans and various fixed fittings on the wall, on the ceiling, sorry. There's going to be a backlit ceiling, which I may have mentioned already, so there'll be a kind of glow around the edge of the ceiling in the main part of the bus. Obviously not the shower, but everywhere else in the kind of main living area and the kitchen of the bus. And then there'll be another one around where the wall will be here that will separate the main double bed from the rest of the bus. There'll be another kind of glowing LED light around the edge of the ceiling, which is going to look really cool. We've allowed cabling obviously for sockets and light switches to be in the right places as well, so that they can turn those, you know, that glowing light around the ceiling off in bed with 2 sockets. As I said, we've got the IMAS boiler in the previous video I showed. This is all installed, and then we run the relevant cabling for that as well underneath the floor, so that the actual temperature control will be in a kind of ergonomic place, so that you're not having to climb into the garage just to adjust the temperature of it. You know, as this isn't a van with big double doors. But overall, really happy with how the floor has turned out, and it really gives it a sense of space now. The shower is 1100 by 700, so I think the plan is to have a doorway roughly there, with a composting toilet or potentially a chemical toilet. That's not been fully confirmed yet. That will sit, I believe, in front of the doorway. Then you've got a really nice area to shower with a wall, or, you know, so you're not showering in front of the doorway basically. The drain had to go there. There was no other option for it to be spun around the other way, just due to a fuel tank and various bits and bobs under the floor. But actually having the drain there will allow for the underfloor waste system that will run into the grey water tank at the rear, a bit more straightforward actually, rather than having to navigate some of the kind of gearbox and chassis underneath in that area. It will actually be able to run fairly neatly along the chassis, the main chassis, all the way down to the waste tank at the back. And then the sink that will be over here should be a butler sink, will very easily then tie into that and run down to here as well. So again, they'll have a 250 litre water tank that will be in the back, which will be in the kind of closed off garage area, which will be accessible by a removable panel in the single bed that will be underneath the double bed. So the wall of the single bed will have a cupboard door or a removable panel that you'll use to get into that garage area, or will get you used to get in that area to do inspections for the owner. And yeah, there'll be obviously a kitchen running along this wall, which is why there's wiring coming out here to power all the appliances, and have a fuse box in that area. And then we've left a hole in the floor so that we've got access to the only join in the water system, just in case there was ever a failure, which, to be totally honest, I'm very doubtful, as we've never had one of these John Guest fittings fail. They're designed for mains pressure, and they've got the super seal inserts as well, so you don't actually have to use those, but they just give you an extra layer of protection in terms of leaks. And then we've obviously got hot and cold feed for the kitchen sink. The IMAS boiler will supply hot water to the shower only, as you can simply just turn off the boiler or turn the temperature right down if you wanted to have a colder shower, and it is that easy really. You just turn the temperature down on the LED display. So to keep the system as small and as well pressurized as possible, we've basically just stuck to just having a hot water feed in the last, well, God, I can't remember the last time we actually ran cold into a shower as well. Obviously we tend to use as higher pressure pumps as seems sensible. Our library bus runs a 60 psi pump, as we've got to fill up a hot bath, but we tend to use a 30 psi shore flow pump on most vans. Otherwise, in this one we're using a 45 psi pump, always with an accumulator as well, to maintain a kind of steady flow. But yeah, there doesn't seem much point making the system twice as big if we can avoid it. So it seems to be a sensible way of doing things. You get great pressure in the shower. The IMAS boiler, as I mentioned when we fitted it, I think in episode 2 or part 2, it's not designed to run at really high pressure, putting out 45 degrees. So depending on the time of year, there is ways around that. You can optimize the system and recirculate water so that the overall temperature of the tank can be brought up. and then use the boiler will then, you know, get the water up to temperature really quickly. In the summer that tends to be less of a problem, obviously, because the water you're putting in a tank is much warmer. But in the winter, you know, you could be putting in nearly 0 degree cold water, so the boiler's working a lot harder. So if anyone's ever had any issues with a iMass not getting up to temperature, by all means leave a comment or reach out to us over Instagram. I'm always happy to give some advice if you're struggling to get it to work the way it should, as we've fitted probably about 10 to 15 of them now. Yeah, so the next video is, again, I was a day late, so sorry about that. But yeah, next week I'm planning to have done the stairs area and had that all kind of looking like an entrance now. The plan is to carry the cork flooring down the steps with something different on the side of the walls. The owner's actually coming down on Monday, so we can decide what the kind of finish will be, where there's obviously exposed metal, well, painted metal at the moment. I would more than likely imagine it will be cork running down the face and the base of the steps with something different on the sides along here. And then I'd like to finish off at least the bottom step with a piece of coconut door matting that fits that area really well. We're also going to have to create a bit of a sort of edge here just for where the sliding door opens and closes, as the door doesn't have a very good kind of gutter on the outside of it, so any water that might drip down the door could potentially find its way in. So we're going to make a sealed off kind of little edge, so the flooring will actually start probably about 2 inches in from the edge of the actual step, so any water that does come down the door will just be on there and will drip out basically. So there's no risk of any water ingress into the flooring here. We may also put in a small kind of drop drain through the floor here, so if there ever was a spillage in the doorway or someone had really wet boots, or you come in soaking wet because it's been raining, any water that ends up in this lower area will find itself going through that drain. Even if it does make its way under the doormat and onto the cork is very resistant to water anyway. And then also having that drain will mean the water will drip straight down underneath the entrance porch area. So yeah, by next week, like I said, that should hopefully be done, and the plan is to start building some sort of structure on the ceiling and start cladding creating a frame inside for the insulation to go in on the walls. We've got a bit more welding to do. My welder's been away for a week, so he's still got to finish off the exterior welding above the doors of the cab area. There is some, you can't really see here, but they've basically just left loads of old welding wire and haven't primed it properly when they built it. So they've gone to the effort of painting all of this metal in red oxide primer, which has held up really well since 2007. But they've not bothered doing it in lots of quite important areas. So we're going to have to try and put that right, because the idea is that all of this is absolutely chock-a-block full with insulation, and it's not something you'd want to be welding in the future, because obviously you'll burn the bus down. So we want to get that right from the start, so that this bus lives on for a really long time, and they can go on lots of adventures in it and hopefully make the most of it before they start making everyone drive around in electric cars, which I'm really not looking forward to. Did you know driving an electric car is not better for the environment unless you've done probably over 100,000 miles in it? And I very much doubt many people are going to probably do that. Although I'm all for saving the planet, I'm not all for big corporate companies encouraging us to live the way they want us to live and forcing us into buying this and buying that. Not so long ago it was very important we all went out and bought economical diesels, but all the companies were lying to us about the miles per gallon that they offered, and it seems to be more of a money thing rather than let's save the planet, which I try not to read the news anymore because it's pretty depressing, and I'm sure you can all relate with the way the world's been the last couple of years. On a brighter note, it seems to be living off grid. People have woken up to the idea that they can have some more freedom and live a kind of non-traditional life basically. And I'm really happy that I've been able to create another library bus with more knowledge, more skill, and some help behind me now. And this is going to be a fantastic home for the owners when they're away on holiday, or even if they just want to stay in it on their own land. It's going to be a really special thing. So yeah, thank you for watching these first few videos. Obviously make sure you stay tuned for the next video next week, and yeah, I'll do my best to stay on the schedule of doing a weekly video and keeping you in the loop. Please like and subscribe, drop any comments, good or bad. I'd like to hear anything you've got to say, and yeah, stay tuned to the next one, and thanks for sticking with VANHAUS Conversions. All the best.